Social media is easier than you think.
But is it? I mean, but is it really? Because I don't agree. It was hard. It's still hard.
Let me ask you this. When did you actually do you remember when you created your first social media or
Yeah.
whatever? What was it?
Okay. And I, I don't know what that question really means. I mean, I remember like MySpace and Facebook and things like that. But when it came to like wanting to produce something for other people, like getting out there, I have like a whole bunch of moments in time where I was uncomfortable, didn't like it, and I can't believe I'm doing this. Should I stop doing it? That kind of stuff. Because my very first social media that I remember, I did it. Oh, you asked me this question. I did it for a class, but it's private and nobody really can see it. I did it and recorded it, and it looks awful. But to
So
me, I
okay,
thought it was the
okay.
greatest thing ever.
And I guess my question was, I should have said it like this, like when did you really start using social media? And I don't mean recording it, producing it for someone else, but like when did you, and I'll say this, and we'll just say Facebook, because I think our first social media platform was probably Ning, Ning, because our high school started using it and then they just
Oh,
didn't get the funding. And so it went away. And that was really how we started connecting to have class reunions. So when I say social media, I'll ask the question, when did you really start using Facebook? Because Facebook was originally built for college students, and then it became available for those of us that weren't in college.
oh, I'm looking at college, right? I'm looking at it. I say college because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it should tell me like when I started. And I'm looking and I don't see it. But I think it's like 2008, nine. Like,
I
I
think it was
don't
2009.
like something like that. And I was pretty active, but but with purpose, it was just more of a connection with family. It's still private. I can choose to make it public. I do like that, and I have a Facebook page. I don't know, there's difference. Like, anyway, a public one. But that's kind of just what I remember is 2009, thinking like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. But when I really think about it, it wasn't just Ning. I remember being in the AOL chat group.
Yeah,
Like,
and I don't even remember that. You know what? Here's the truth. Is when we talk about social media, it was Ning and MySpace. And I was only on MySpace because Ryan was on MySpace because I just needed to see what he was doing. And then I was going on trade missions. So I thought I would start using MySpace on purpose. So yeah, for me, it was Ning, then MySpace, and then Facebook. And I was using it just to kind of connect with people because you could go find people you hadn't seen in decades.
and okay, but I remember watching the movie with Mark Zuckerberg and feeling like, oh my gosh, this really is a good thing. It's great connection. Aside from the movie, it was this connecting piece. And I did think it was going to change the world when it came to businesses and offering services and things like that. But that wasn't uncomfortable because all I had to do was post a picture and say something. Post a picture and
Right.
say something. It wasn't, and I wasn't really doing video. Like, it was just like this, a still picture. It was static. You couldn't move.
And yeah, and I think that makes it easier. It's almost like being with people you already know, except you're posting a photo, you can comment. And now you have, we have all these different social media platforms. And so at the beginning, I said, social media is easy. And you were like,
Mm-mm.
is it
No.
really? And so let's have a conversation around that because I go live on Instagram typically every Friday in the morning around 9 o'clock, 9:05 a.m., unless I have something else scheduled, like a flight or something. So, and I was live recently on video. So the entire month of July 2024, if you're watching the replay, I'm creating content around video. The first week of July, it was around TikTok. The second week of July, it was Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels. The third week, which will actually be on a Tuesday night, will be on YouTube. And then the last week will be about going live. And when I was live about Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels, afterwards we had a conversation and you were telling me, Carrie, you've been using social media for years, and then you've been creating content and you've been creating video, and you forgot the part about it's easy for you because you've been doing it for years, and for you it was a different experience. Because I was like, just do it. What's the problem?
No. Oh, okay, but so it's uncomfortable. And every time you just gave a whole list of everything you're doing, and my brain just goes, like, that's a lot for many people. And if it's my industry, it's not a lot, whatever that is. But what I mean by it's a lot, I'm going to tell you that I had planned on going live this morning, and I was going to go live at like 6:30 in the morning, but I forgot to plan. I forgot to figure out what I was going live about, and I forgot to post it last week. So I either had to make a decision to just do it, and nobody probably would have shown up. I didn't send anybody anything. It's all the stuff before. And that's just with me doing this pretty consistently over the last 3, 4 years. The first time you were like, just go live. I had a white wall. I got frozen in time. One person jumped in and I didn't know what to do. Like it
Ooh, they
felt
watching me. Ooh, they
awful.
looking in.
Right. So every time you go on Instagram, you go live and you're like, you just go do this and just post your, I feel overwhelmed for the person listening to it, or almost like it's not that easy. It is not that easy to do that. And what I mean by that is if I were to there are people who tell me that it's easy to go and teach. Oh, I could do that. And I'm going to give an example, and I'm just going to say it. My ex came to one of my classes, like observed me back earlier on in my career, and was sitting in the room and was like, oh, I could just do that. I could just teach that. And actually interjected and interrupted, which is a whole nother thing, but felt like he could that it's easy, but didn't know all the planning, and then attempted this whole career like that. And I'm like, it's not easy, is it? Because you assume that we just stand up and start teaching. Teachers work on the back end, and even if they prepared the day before, they went through 4, 5, 6 years of education and understand how to engage students and go into, like, there's a list of things that we're doing, and it's just something we do. It's like it's just automatic. That's the word I'm looking for. So for you, you can plan this like an hour or two before, possibly weeks before, and it's automatic. That automation, we call that automaticity in education. That's not easy.
Automaticity. What?
Automaticity.
What? That sounds like a made up
Automatic. And in automaticity, automatic,
automaticity.
automaticity.
Mark's gonna say autumn. My husband's gonna say
Bare
automaticity.
necessities, the automaticity.
Right. Yeah.
It's
that
a
sounds
word. So
made up.
it's so automatic for you. Like, I watch you and I'm like, oh, I could do that. Like, I watch you to see how I can do it. And I'm waiting for the day to say, oh, Mina's just doing what her sister's doing. You doggone right I am, because I'm watching somebody else that's doing it. So, and you've heard on YouTube where people go in and they're like, go find somebody that's in your industry and look at what they're doing and take the trend and do it for yourself. That's okay.
But here's the truth:
it's research, and oh my God.
Well, the truth is are we really doing the same thing, or are we leveraging social media? Because social media, creating a podcast and going live on video, we may do the same thing, but we'll definitely be different, because what other people don't know, when I started with social media is easy. What people don't know is I actually used to edit the back end of a television show, nonprofit, and then I used to also record with a big, television camera. And so I had a little bit of leverage, and I was behind the scenes on a radio show. So I learned how to do research to plan for what was going to be discussed. And I would, old school, I sat with a 3-ring binder. So if someone asked a question, I could quickly just hand it and hold it up and say, this is how you need to answer. So I did have a little bit of leverage. And so when I started to go, when I had decided I'm going to go live consistently on social media, I knew just like high school, a beginning, middle, and an end. But I also learned that it was going to be, the beginning was going to be, I was going to tell a story. I knew what I was going to talk about, because typically although I think I should really do this on the weekend. Typically, the night before, I sit down, I open up Evernote. I have a whole section called Coffee with Carrie, and I probably have close to 160 notes. And I write down what I'm going to talk about. And do I do research? Maybe. But because I've been in the real estate industry so long, I can just be off the cuff because I've been practicing. So a lot of things that I talk about, I don't just talk about from theory. I'm actually doing it. So I'll tell a story. I'll go and I'll tell a story about maybe something that's happened to me or someone else. And then I'll say, then I might ask a question to everyone that's watching. And then I'll say, okay, let's get into it. And then I'll review, I'll wrap up and then do some Q&A. So when I say social media is easy, did it happen overnight? No. But I had the ability to practice, and it's almost like giving that speech. It's terrifying. You couldn't have paid me. You couldn't have paid me to do a podcast or be on video. But it's when I got used to talking about my craft, it just got easier. So again, do I think social media can be easy for everyone? I do. Now, you made a good point about being in education. I have people, because I'm an educator in the real estate world, people will get their pre-license license to teach pre-licensing, or they'll get a continuing ed license. And they're like, Carrie, I want to do what you do. I'm like, go for it. They're like, how do you do it? I'm like, you have to
$500.
You got to write your own classes. And it's like real estate. You're an entrepreneur. You have to fill the room. It is not the local association's job to fill the room. And people don't get that, but they see me doing it and they're like, I want to do it too. So just like social media, do I believe everyone has the ability? The trick is you just have to start, and you have to be willing to adjust, maybe edit your profiles, delete some things, update, and pivot.
Okay, but so you said a beginning, middle, and end. And the first thing I said to myself, because remember, education, that's my thing. I was like, oh, beginning, that's an anticipatory set. Like, so when people tell me they can just do, oh, teaching is easy. No, it is not. But that is something I can just do because I told you automaticity, it's automatic. When you say out loud, even in your lives, you'll say, I've been doing this for years. And I'm thinking, how do you help somebody that hasn't been doing it for years and getting them comfortable? And what not recently, but a lot, you've been saying, just do one thing and get good at it. Because
my one thing is, if you really want to do video, but you're terrified, sit down, get a tripod. And let's just go with the regular tripod, no light, just a tripod so you can hold your phone up. And what do you like to do? Is it drinking coffee? Is it sitting outside? Is it making breakfast? What is it you like to do? Is it working? And record yourself for about 15 seconds and then trim the beginning and the end and put some words on top of it. You could do a voiceover if you want, but the cool thing is it's a way to start, and the words on top of it could be educational, could be entertaining, could be a thought-provoking statement. Just post. And if you're like, I don't even want to be in the video, Canva. There is probably a template for almost every industry. And I say almost because, who knows? Maybe there isn't something for lawn maintenance. I don't know. But I know there's something for real estate. I know there's templates for education. You could literally just go grab pre-created video reels for Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, Threads, YouTube Shorts. There's something already created. The win is one post a week. And if you really, I want you to do it every single day. But when I say that, people are like, they give me the look. I'm like, okay, once a week. And if they're like, that's a lot. Once a day is 365 days of content. Once a week is 52 weeks of content. Once a month is 12 pieces of content for the year. So if you look at the big picture, if you posted every single day, at an end of a year, if you started today, it would be, sometime in July of the next year. If you posted every single day, you would see huge growth in your social media. Now, and again, tying it to maybe a theme in real estate, I can almost put anything to real estate: DIY, shopping at TJ Maxx, looking for pillows, staging a house. It could be walking the neighborhood. It could be showcasing the local coffee shop, things to do in the community. I could almost tie in everything. Education, having a conversation with a teacher. It is a lot of times we don't know what to post, but if you pause and think about what do you love, you can create content around it, or just go follow the people you like. And if someone's creating the content you like, how can you transfer it into your industry?
And so I used to think that no one needs to hear what I have to say as a principal, because I would see assistant principals and principals on YouTube or on Instagram or on TikTok, wherever, Facebook. And then you said something, there's room for everybody because no one is me. I'm the only one that's me. It's the idea of getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. And, Gary Vee will use some, colorful language and be like, nobody cares. Don't worry about what other people think about you. And if they think something bad about you, that's their problem, not yours, which helped me a lot. And there's a person you and I watch, you shared this person with me on YouTube, Jade. And she said something recently about posting at least once a week on YouTube. And she was posting twice. And she said she started to go back to one time a week so that she could get people to engage in just that one video. Not because it takes a lot of time to edit. She does have someone that helps her edit now, but because if you do too much, then people can't see what you're doing. YouTube is different. So when you post every day, do you mean like YouTube shorts? Like YouTube.
I would say when
Thing.
I say post every single day, I would, if to make it simple, it's what social media platform do you use the most? And if it's you're like, Carrie, I don't use any of them, I would say where's your network? And I mean, based on generations, I would say, anyone over the age of 45, it's probably Instagram and YouTube, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then just creating content 60 seconds or less for Facebook and YouTube shorts. That's
And
what I
so
would do.
Millie Modern is this other person on YouTube, and I don't know if people will watch these people, but she created like this outline, and she said you must do research. And I know people are like, well, I don't even know how to do research. Doesn't have to be me sitting in the library online at a university going to peer reviewed articles. What it means is going on, like, say, Instagram and searching the things that you're thinking about to see what other people are doing. So it triggers, like, I'm going to give you my favorite research thing that you tell me about: Pinterest. Go to Pinterest to find out some outfits for the photo shoot. Go to Pinterest to find out some outfits for the interview. That's me. And you'll send me like that's research, because other people are already having these ideas and giving you easy ways to learn things. And it does help, because then I can just take that and run with it. For me, I've been going on YouTube lately, and I'm just going to say it to everybody. There are videos on YouTube from principals, and I mean school site, like school administrators. And they're like a year old, 2 years old, 7 years old, but they are searchable. Like, I pay for a product software that attaches to YouTube, and it tells me, based on your search criteria, this is highly looked for, and I have very little competition. And these videos are old. So I'm like, I could own that market. And because I can help so many principals and teachers because I was a successful principal. So you said you tell a story at the beginning, you have a middle, examples, ideas. For me, I'm like, oh, what is that with the teacher thing? Like input, output, and the ending. Like, how are you ending it to get people in? Because it's not just about making money anymore. It's like really helping people do better, because that's what your arena is. But I'm telling you, I don't care what people say, I still get the butterflies before I go live. And
Really?
I still get the butterflies right before I go live. I still get the butterflies right before I go live, even on Zoom or YouTube. As soon as I start, though, I'm good. Even when I go live on Clubhouse, I still get butterflies just at the beginning, but then it goes away. And let me tell you why. It was because I'm like, no one's gonna watch. No one cares if they watch. The idea is to start And over time, once you get that market going, you get one person, you get two people, it doubles, it becomes exponential. And I've watched that even with you on Instagram. So I know that I will be going live. You know, I have a lot going on with the wedding thing in my family and all of that stuff. So I'm picking a day where I'm going to pick a time every week that will be for me. Even if it's 6 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning for me on the weekend, because I'm up and somebody else can grab that, because that's 7 a.m. your time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And I have people in other countries that talk to me still because I went live with them at 3 a.m. for, yes, New Zealand for STEM
On
education
Clubhouse?
on Clubhouse. So we were give and take. They were like, "Are you going to be able to get up?" I'm like, "Absolutely." I went back to sleep after that. But what I'm saying is where I mean, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable and being okay with the I get butterflies. But what's the worst that's going to happen is what I say to myself. I'm not going to die. The worst that's going to happen is nothing other than I'm going to have content, which is the best thing that could happen. So I don't
And
know
if you
about
do it over time, you become the person that's relevant. And you said it, there isn't content. So that means someone started, maybe life got, life changed and they just didn't keep going, or maybe didn't keep they didn't have the traction, so they didn't stick with it. And YouTube takes time. Do I believe it's like the lottery and you could just get lucky one day and all of a sudden you just take off like a rocket? Yes. So Mina, what are, 2 or 3 takeaways that you would say to someone that is stuck or they're trying to use social media and they haven't started? What would you tell
um
them to do?
I would say what you tell me. You have to start somewhere. That's one. Um, the second thing is I would say be comfortable with the uncomfortable and just do it and create a plan. I know I need to create a plan and finding your I'm going to give one more. Whatever you're comfortable with, talk about that. You don't need to pick somebody else's niche. Your niche is what you should be able to get in front of the camera without looking at a script and just talk. That's what I would say.
And my tips would be is you're probably going to still overthink it, but commit to creating content for social media. And when I say commit, is it going to be once a week? Is it going to be once a month? Is it going to be every single day? Commit. And it could be twice a week, because then instead of 52 weeks of content, it's 104 pieces of content for an entire year. So number one, commit. Number two, schedule yourself to think, like Mina said, schedule yourself to think. And it could be for an hour. Pick the time. Then after you scheduled yourself to think about what you might want to post, then pick another time or another day to create your content. So if you have a regular job and you're trying to pivot into being a content creator, schedule time when you're not working to create your videos. We like to, use the weekend to create your videos. And again, and you could create in bulk. So if you know you're going to post 8 times a month, you might change your outfit 8 times, or maybe you're just going to change twice because people are going to get to know that, oh, I know they pre-recorded this, but it's great. I know I'm going to get a post every Wednesday and every Friday morning. So people they'll get to know you. And again, that's what will be my number 3 is when you do schedule your post, be consistent with when. Now, again, it's okay to break the rule, whatever your rule is. So number 1, commit. Number 2, schedule time to think. Number 3, it would be schedule time to create. And then number 4 would be schedule your actual content. And I think that is really 3 hours worth of work, and it doesn't have to be all in one day. And I'm Carrie Little. I am a broker owner in the real estate world in Illinois and Florida for Caremark Realty Group. I can be found on Instagram and on TikTok and on YouTube, Carrie Jo Little everywhere.
And I'm Dr. Mina Blazey, and I'm on YouTube, MJ Blazey, and everywhere else, I am Mina J. Blazey. So thank you so much for listening. And remember to subscribe and come back often.